Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's a very typical Global Chamber welcome because we're all across the world in 525 metros in 195 countries. That's typically everywhere, right? My name is Maimun Mustafa. I am the Executive Director of Global Chamber Dhaka and also the CEO of MCFG, licensee of Global Chamber in Bangladesh. Today, we have an exciting webinar for you, and it's under our signature series of programs called the Young Global Leaders. Under this initiative, what we do is we engage with young people just like yourself who are aspiring to be and who are going to be the future leaders of tomorrow. So today's topic is about leveraging the global tribe for greater impact. What is the global tribe? It's all of us who believe that we can work cross-border and we can do better business and engage in activities alongside each other. We have a fixed set of goals, a fixed mentality to cooperate irrespective of any differences. And that's the amazing thing of the group that is actually going to be in the panel today. So let me introduce you to a few of them. First of all, I'm very proud to share that we have with us the CEO and founder of the Global Chamber itself, Doug Brunke. Joining Doug is our Vice President, and that's Cesar Tabanco, who's from San Juan, Puerto Rico. Then we have the lovely Katie Keith, the Executive Director of Global Chamber of London. And of course, she represents not only the United Kingdom, but originally she's from the land down under, Australia. So we have two continents being covered by Katie today. Then we have Tal Silverberg, the Executive Director of Global Chamber Tel Aviv. And of course, Tal is a specialist in marketing and he comes from the Middle East and he can give us a lot of input from that region. We then have Larry Hart, who's our Regional Executive Director because he handles not one, but the amazing task of handling two metros. That's in Cincinnati and Denver. We also have Phil Desant, who is joining us all the way from southern Brazil, from a place called Druidville. But Phil's also worked in New York City, in the US, and also in France. So you'll get to, I guess, hear a lot of input from him as we go into today's conversation. And today, Ruby Golo is joining us as the voice of Africa, from all the way from Accra. Ruby has a very bad flu, but the professionalism that she's showing is what we try to highlight at the Global Chamber, that no matter what happens, we'll still stay true to our commitments. We also have from our amazing partner of today's event, the University of Liberal Arts Bangladesh's Digital Marketing Club, and the representative is Dr. Umana Angeline. Umana, again, thank you so much for coming in today. We have two other guest speakers, Arif Ahmed, the Managing Director of Light Light Company. Arif has worked in Bangladesh as well as in Malaysia, and also Afshara Aisha, who is a certified professional coach working in Bangladesh with, of course, training from Malaysia as well. So let me not bore you with any further monologue from my side, and let's go into today's conversation. And the first individual that I'm very happy to call on board is Phil Desant, the Executive Director of Global Chamber Druidville. Now, Phil is a business developer and consultant since 2003 in the USA and in Europe, and he helps support small and medium-sized companies. And over the course of his career, Phil's also evolved as an account director for AT&T, 7 years over there in the Paris area of France, and then of course out of NYC in the USA. He has a solid background in working in various industries, which range from the automotive industry like General Motors, Delphi, Textron, Valeo, Aeronautics, Cessna Sedation, Textron, etc., thermal insulation, and waterproofing. I'll let Phil go into the rest. Right now, Phil is focusing on his worldwide experience in North America, South America, and Europe to adjust to clients and business partners quickly and to help people adjust to a variety of cultures and nations so that the true potential of commercial and working relationships can be established. Phil, we'd love to hear what you have to say in the next 6 minutes. But before we go on to that, just a small note for everybody in the audience. We have 163 people joining in today, and I hope there will be more as we go on. Let's use the chat box. I'll take a leaf out of Tal's book, that the chat box should not be empty. So please feel free to introduce yourself, ask questions, and we will not be having any questions while the delivery portion is happening. And towards the end, we will have a networking and engagement session, right? So I think having said that, let's raise hands virtually if you can for Phil Desant. Phil, your 6 minutes is here. The screen is yours.
Thank you very much, Maimon, for this introduction. Before I start, could you please let me know if my presentation will be shared?
I can help with that, Phil. Just go ahead and I will put it in a couple of seconds.
Okay, thank you very much. Today I have the pleasure to share with you some highlights about Brazil. Also, we're going to talk about aspects of the Brazil economy, about also a lot of possibilities for young global leaders in terms of what industries we have in Brazil, in southern Brazil in particular. And we're going to talk also about some opportunities that we work along with the Global Chamber Southern Brazil here for the next months. A lot to do. So I will be happy to share this with you. So once the presentation is on. Thank you very much. So let's start with the first slide. Some highlights about Brazil, which is very important to have a view of what it is. So it's a federal state. We have 20 states plus Distrito Federal now, which is actually the administrative part of the country, with a population of 210 million people. Gross domestic product in 2021 of $1,620 billion. The coverage that we have with our chapter, Global Chamber Southern Brazil, is 6 states today: Minas Gerais, Rio de Janeiro, São Paulo, Paraná, Santa Catarina, Rio Grande do Sul. You can see on a circle on the map on the left side. This covers a population of 140 million people, and also gross domestic product, which is about 55% of the total of the country. Next slide, please. So some figures about the economy. So in terms of import trade for 2021, Brazil recorded $219 billion of imports. Main countries that Brazil import from are China, USA, and Argentina. What are the main products? Fertilizers, oil, bitumen, process industry, medicines, telecom equipment, auto parts. Regarding export trade, it's a total for 2021 of $280 billion. The same partners that you have for import are also for the export, which are China, USA, and Argentina. And the main products is also iron ore, soya, oil. Also, you have meat, sugar, process industry, and cellulose. Next slide, please. What are the main industries that southern Brazil economy is about? So many is a lot of regarding agribusiness, fishery. You have also a lot of timber, cellulose, paper, wooden furniture, which is a very, very important industry here. Petrochemical, information technology, tourism, innovation. So that's the main industries in the region. Next slide, please. So now the second part of the presentation, what are the markets of opportunities for young leaders in southern Brazil? So the economy in Brazil is also evolving, and you have a lot of investments, a lot of new companies actually today who are being created in certain and specific industries, such as, apart from agribusiness, which is important, of course, but a lot of in services, like information technology, software industry, research and development. You have a fintechs, ERPs, apps, new technologies and innovation. So we're going to talk a little bit about this as well. Renewable energy, such as the solar systems, sustainable economy, automotive industry, tourism, and of course, international business. That's very important here in the area. Why is it so important? It's because you have, such as in the southern part of Brazil, 6 ports that are actually covering the most part of the export and import in the country. Airports as well, and road transportation, obviously. So it's a kind of, it's a very, very heavy in terms of logistics. Next slide, please. So an important part.
Just a short reminder, you have 1 minute.
Sure. What do we do as a global chamber, Southern Brazil, as support and assistance to young leaders? So let's have a look at this. There are 3 main areas that we can talk about today. Next slide, please. The first one is the collaboration agreement that we have with the Catholic University of Santa Catarina, in which we going to work with interns who participate in the activities of the Global Chambers chapter here. We're going to do some conferences as well this year with as Global Chamber with the Catholic University. And also our interns will have access, obviously, to Global Chamber webinar and start networking with the Global Chamber globally. So that's these are very, very important advantage that they're going to have, and we are very excited about this this possibility. Next slide, please. We're going to talk also about the partnership which we have with the Globinar Foundation. We'll see on the next slides what it's all about. So Globinar Foundation covers all Latin America, and they are trying to stimulate. This is being done for several years now. Many activities in Latin America and develop the human potential. Next slide, please. So there are 5 programs. One is Joven.lat, which is a website we're going to talk about in a minute. We're going to see also edificators, business.
Still, you have 30 seconds.
Okay. Also about women and nature. Next slide, please. So Joven.lat is a website which also is a platform developing opportunities of study, employment, and also business opportunities for young leaders, young global leaders in all Latin America. Next slide, please. So we have an agreement already since last year with this platform, and we're going to see here on the slide that we actually have our logo type here. So this is a very important possibility that we have for all young people, young leaders in the continent here. Next slide, please. And the last one is a partnership that we have. We are being actually negotiating with the incubators in the Santa Catarina state. And those incubators work mainly with the new technologies, renewable energies and software. They are all startups, and they are very, very dynamic. So this is a real chance for the region here. So we have a lot of young people involved in here, and we want to take advantage of this and show them and help them as much as possible. Thank you very much. Next slides, just to finish. I want to thank you for your support, and I'll be happy to answer to any question that you may have. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Phil. And sadly, I have to be the bad guy today to keep track of time. But we're going to have a session towards the end where all of you can engage with Phil. I think he talked about a lot of amazing opportunities. So keep the questions flooding in the chat box, and we'll try to address them right after we're done with initial deliveries. Once again, thank you so much, Phil, for enlightening us about Brazil. Another point that I would love to mention to everyone present here today is our two other partners, our media partners. That is the Financial Express Bangladesh and ICE Business Times, who have been giving us coverage and who are supporting us to promote the idea of young global leaders consistently. So we'd like to give out a big hand of appreciation to them. So moving on, let's go from across the Atlantic to still the South, but Africa, the foundation of all humanity, right? And Ruby is an amazing champion of that. She's also been awarded from the Global Chamber for her efforts to highlight Africa on the global scale. She has an amazing amount of experience as the CEO of Global Trade, being the executive director of the Global Chamber in Accra, Ghana. She's a Lumina learning practitioner. She's an advisory board member of the Livestock and Fisheries Chamber of Ghana. As the experienced CEO with a demonstrated history of working in the international trade and investment space for more than 2 decades, she's got strong business development, professional skills in negotiation, business planning, strategy planning, business development, and international business. Ruby, we're willing and eager to hear from you right now. Your 6 minutes of screen time are here.
Thank you very much. I hope you can all hear me okay. I'd like to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Not yet,
No,
Ruby.
we can't. Not yet.
Oh, yeah.
There you
Is it
go.
on? Right, okay. Hello, everyone. I'm so delighted to be part of this event. Just a bit of background. Thanks for that kind introduction. I'm indeed a proud African based in Accra, Ghana. I do have experience in trade and investment, and we support businesses looking to trade and invest in Ghana and across Africa. I previously worked with a diplomatic mission for 17 years before setting up my company. I'm currently the executive director for Global Chamber here in Accra, and I also double as the executive, the founder and CEO of Global Trade Council, which is my own company. I'm married with a lovely daughter, and I'm very, very much passionate about my family. Okay, so what is the African story? I mean, over the years, Africa has been projected negatively, but our continent is a beautiful one, blessed with many natural resources. As you can see in the image, we have various minerals that we support everybody globally. A visit to Africa will totally change how you perceive the continent and its people, because we are very friendly and we welcome everybody to experience Africa. We have multi-talented youth that are eager to learn, explore, and go global. So how can we help? So within our metro, my passion is to change the mindset of the youth from job seekers to job creators. You all agree that the jobs are no more there. And so it is my dream to kind of encourage the youth in my region to look at setting up their own businesses. I tend to listen to their needs and how we can help them to support themselves, build up their careers in the various fields that they want to explore. To do that, I'm planning to organize a series of seminars and workshops to encourage the youth to venture into their own business, because that is the only way we can actually bridge the unemployment gap. So what would they gain from us? You know, we can help them to develop and, you know, fine tune their skills. They will gain work experience. We do work with a lot of public and private businesses. So we have the connection to put them in those businesses. We can help them to create their professional network and tap into our business network. We will help them to kind of build a strong resume. In my line of work, I've come to notice that a lot of students do not know how to present their CVs in a manner that employers who want to see their skills. So we tend to help them to build those resumes as well. And for those who will be interested in startup, we plan to help them with their business plan. Many of them have a lot of ideas, but they don't know how to start. So those are some of the support systems that we are going to build to help the youth in our region. We do have mentorship and internship programs that they can join in. And of course, I mean, we'll be happy to give them good references and recommendation for those who want to go into the corporate world. So that's from me. For those who will be interested in contacting me, so we can have one-on-one. I believe in having one-on-one to better understand what your specific needs are. Please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be happy to guide you through the process of how you can apply to get the right jobs, or if you are looking to start your own business. Thank you for the opportunity. I'll be happy to take questions afterwards.
Thank you so much, Ruby. I think I've started believing in the Africa brand. If I didn't believe in it before, after I started meeting with Ruby. And yes, Africa is the future. And if you want to get connected, Ruby is definitely the person to go to. You know, and she's warm. You know, she's always willing to lend an ear, and of course, lend some good advice as well along the way. So if you have any questions for Ruby, for Ghana, for any part of Africa, I'm sure she'll be very much willing to help you out. Please keep those coming in questions. We'd like to tell you, you've just gone through 2 metros of Global Chamber. That is Southern Brazil and Jakarta. And we have Tel Aviv, San Juan, Denver, Cincinnati, and we've even seen that our Global Chamber San Francisco has joined in today, in today's meeting. So that just goes to show the kind of feeling that we have in this tribe of people who always want to go and support everybody together. I'll just share a small story before I go on to our next speaker, because he has been inspirational for giving this idea of meetups and how making things so simple, and why it should be small pitches or small conversations, and then you take it along the way. So this idea that we had was just stemming from one partnership with the university, then that being University of Liberal Arts Bangladesh. And when I just pitched this idea to my colleagues in the Global Chamber, everybody just came in to support. And I think that's the kind of inspiration that we all can take, that we can grow better together than we just do alone. So one of the best examples of that is, I think, the father of the Global Chamber meetups concept, Tal Silverberg from Global Chamber Tel Aviv. So what do I tell about Tal? He is the CEO of Green Book USA Incorporated. He's the CEO of the Sports and Fitness Center Limited. He's an experienced owner with a demonstrated history of working in the utilities industry, and is skilled in coaching, event management, public speaking, management, and marketing. Furthermore, he's a strong business development professional who's graduated from the Zinman College of Physical Education and Sports Sciences at the Wingate Institute. So Tal, I think you can do the rest of the speaking for yourself.
Thank you very much, Maimon. Yeah, I'm going to put my timer so I won't take much of the time. First of all, I'm really happy to see so many young people here. The young people are the future leaders And it's good to see so many. And congratulations for the meeting. Hello, everyone. My name is Tal Silverberg. I'm the co-owner and CEO of Greenbook USA. I'm also the executive director of Global Chamber Israel. And I would like to share my screen for a short presentation. Hold on. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So Israel is a small country. It's called the Startup Nation. And we have a lot of opportunities to offer to young leaders, to young people that wants to develop and collaborate with us worldwide. As an overview, we have 9.5 million population, and the formal languages are Hebrew and Arabic. So it's both formal languages. We also have a big population of Russian-speaking population. So the diversity is really, really big. Our small country is about 290 miles. It's like 470 kilometers north to west and 80 miles east to west. So you can cross Israel very, very fast. And in half a day, you can travel from the north to the south, east to the west. And this is a very big issue because you can see a lot of opportunities across the way, and the transportation and the way of communicating is really fast. Our currency is new Israeli shekel, and it's about $1 is $3.15. Our main industries are military, the IIA, the Israeli air industry, Air Force industry. We have Elbit Systems, Rafael, technology. We have Amadox, Checkpoint, Waze. We have also cyber security is really strong. Sentinel-1, NSO, which is now in the headlines, not in that good of impression right now. And we have also pharmaceutical companies like Teva, which is a real big company across the world, Daxon, Dr. Fisher, and we have food industries, special bioengineering, fintech, science, and agrotech. We are importing and exporting from around the globe. So you can see that our main place to import, we're actually importing across the world, nothing specific. And we're exporting as well to many countries, Europe, Africa, Canada, and China. We have a lot of universities for a small country. So we have Tel Aviv University, which is in the center of Israel, the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, the Technion, which is like the MIT, the Israeli Institute for Technology, and we have a lot of other universities, which we have a lot of collaboration programs with students across the world. So it's like hubs that we can connect to different part of the world with local companies that are making startups and creating connections. So this is really easy for young people to come from other countries and make the connection, have the experience, and try to get in the companies as a subsidiary company across the world. We have a young metro, only 1.5 years in the Global Chamber, but we have a lot of opportunities. We have very strong, dedicated people there, really connected. I will give you a small information about myself afterwards. At the moment, we have opportunities in the insurance industry, import and export, TV and video. We have one of our members was a very known TV host and journalist, and she's now in Canada, and she's creating a platform which connect all countries in the world with TV and internet program. We have a lot of opportunities in cosmetic industry and business development, and especially international sales. At the moment, a lot of companies are addressing us to young people with opportunities that have boots on ground in different places. And the international sales is something that we can connect you to. These are my details, and a few words about myself. As Maimoun mentioned, I'm the co-owner and CEO of Green USA, but I'm also a networker in my soul and heart, which means I have a lot of connections in Israel and the Middle East. Fortunately, and I'm really happy about it, a lot of peace agreements were signed with Israel, Morocco, UAE, Dubai, and a lot of other places. And now everything is open up. So we're a very centered junction to a lot of connections around the world. I'm also a Rotary Club member. I'm also in other many forums that we can connect you to. Also, our members are really capable to connect you all over the world. So in any way that you need help, we can assist with connections, with programs to students, and also job opportunities. And I hope that Maimoun and I will take to the next level our idea to have an international job affair for the next time. So the next time that you will bump into Waze, Mobileye, Mercury, games of Playtika, use Viber or Intel chip, just think about Israel, because you have a small part of Israel in you. Maimoun, I hope that I was on time. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and good luck. Congratulations on this amazing event.
Thank you so much, Tal, and we're looking forward to learning more from you and about the opportunities in the Middle East and your connections, because I know that's what you're best at, making human connections matter. So as we go on, we understand, about the diversity that you've seen from everybody coming into today's platform, is that we're a group that believes in non-discrimination. We're a group that believes that the politics should be left to the politicians, that religious values should be, kept to the people. That's intrinsic to themselves. But what matters is creating leadership, creating growth, and growing together. Because I think at the end of the day, we're all amazing people. And that's why you, as the young global leaders of tomorrow, can make that change. And I think Tal is doing that every day as he reaches out to everybody. And everybody on this panel, and hopefully everybody that I'm seeing here, the 180 plus individuals will contribute. So moving on. From the Middle East, we'll go back a little bit north and west to the island of England, but also to somebody, as I mentioned, is in the land of the kangaroos and the wallabies and the crocs, if I get it right. It's the lovely Katie Keith, our Executive Director of Global Chamber London. Now, Kathleen Keith, as she's formerly known, is having a dual relationship in her professional life, and that is as the head of partnership with Currency UK as well. Now, Katie is a British and Australian citizen, and she's from a small colonial town on the outskirts of Sydney, but she's happy to call the UK home. And she does find, some moments of daydreaming about the Australian sunshine. We all know how the UK can be. She's a thought leader with 20 years of experience within the banking and finance sector. And she's got access to corporate leadership, business growth, and change management strategies. She's passionate about sending her education, and that's why she joined the Henley Business School. And she wants to, enhance her leadership skills with executive coaching and behavioral change. Katie is passionate and loves working with the Global Chamber community. I can say for a fact that her Metro meetups are amazing. It's gamification to a whole different level. I mean, you don't stay silent. You just want to go in and talk. And I learn so many things from Katie every day. So I would love for all of you to have the same experience that I'm privileged to have. Katie Keith, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Maimoun. And thanks, Phil, Ruby, and Tal so far. I've learned so much from you guys ever since joining as a leader in the Global Tribe. And my journey with Global Chamber has only been just over a year. And I think it's so exciting to be a wonderful part of this global community. And I think at the heart of everything that we do is to help businesses grow, help individuals grow. across borders, in their own hometowns. And I think today what I really wanted to talk about is just a couple of minutes about who we are and what we do. But obviously, I wanted to go more into how can you become a great global leader, and how can you tap into the resources here in London to help along the way. So I'm going to highlight some of the main resources that can help you. But before we get started, I just wanted to talk about a couple of things that are happening here in the UK. So we are growing, and very quickly. We have these amazing businesses all over the UK joining us every single day. And they want to be a part of this amazing movement that we call Global Chamber. And they're becoming part of our global tribe every day. We're doing cross-metro collaborations. We've got a great year in store for everybody here in the UK. And all of the executive directors on the call, we're working together to deliver amazing things. We're doing monthly meetups, as Maimun said. We bring people together, have a bit of fun, do a lot of business along the way. We're setting up our India-UK business corridor. We're forming that very quickly. And we're also really focused on our Young Global Leader Network. And I've been doing a lot of work with a small team in the chamber to develop that out even more. So we look forward to sharing more about that. But here in the UK, we have our top 5 exports, which are crude oil. We've got pharma, electric, cars and machinery. Industry is really big at the moment for finance, fintech and technology. But we're all struggling at the moment with our COVID recovery and our challenges with Brexit. So as a chamber, we're helping businesses to recover and to move forward from these challenges. Now, how can you leverage off our tribe here in the UK, or any tribe around the world for that fact? Well, I would suggest these are my top 7 tips. Make sure you connect, be proactive, ask for help. How do you need help? What projects have you got on? What things would you like to do in your career? Attend these events. It's really important to be seen. Make sure that you're connecting with each other today on LinkedIn. If people are putting their contact details up, make sure that you are accessing that. Just yesterday, I was having a mentor chat with a student from Roehampton University, and I've helped her with her student project and more, and she's now got a full-time job and she's becoming the executive that she always wanted to be. So really make sure you're tapping into your resources and build your international profile if that's where you want to take it. I didn't think that moving from Sydney to the UK was going to be a long-term move, but you just don't know what life has got ahead for you. So it's really important to make sure that you do all the simple things well. And so I wanted to give you access to the top 5, and these are the top 5 resources here in the UK that as young global leaders, you really should be tapping into if you wanted to connect. So we've got our leadership skills. How do we become a leader? How do we tap into that? We've got Michael Quigley from Cataholis, who will be able to help you with his online courses. You can do these from anywhere in the world. We've also got technical internships that you can tap into, robotics, machine learning. Christina Chen from Turing Talent is connected with all the tech hubs here in the UK and can help you on that journey. We've also got our International Student Department internship program with Alex at Roehampton, and our global connectivity platform with Algen. And the reason why I'm saying to connect with these guys is because if you want to develop your skills and you want to tap into resources that you typically wouldn't have, it's really important to look at what is out there. And I've provided this slide deck today so that you can access these resources if you like. And we've got Michael on the call today. Michael, if you wanted to shout out and say hello to the guys on the chat, please do put your details up there. But we need to know what it means to be a global leader. And I think what I'm focused on here at Global Chamber London is helping to equip you with the skills to do that. And we do that with our amazing members. So don't forget Turing Talent, robotics, machine learning, internships. We've got Roehampton University with their amazing international programs, their leadership programs, and also they're a very good friend of the chamber here, and I'm actually working with one of their interns, Ponmile. And we've also got Algen, and I wanted to finish on Algen because the way we connect is moving quicker than ever before. We want connectivity at our fingertips. So by becoming a part of the Algen platform, it allows you access to resources all over the world, and you can tap into that straight away at your fingertips. Now, I just wanted to say, reach out to me if you'd love to learn more and you'd love to leverage more of our global tribe here in London. I hope that my tips today have been useful, and thank you very much, Maimun, and for all of your team for organising the event today. I'm looking forward to learning more from the other presenters. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Always concise, to the point, and near to perfection, as we can always aspire to be. That was a lot of important information, and I think that just goes to show the amazing people that's in the Global Tribe, based out of London, but they're working everywhere, right? And if you believe you can connect with Katie and be benefited, I definitely think you will. Or do you want to connect to these other amazing platforms and individuals? Please feel free to give them a shout out in the chat box. So we'll head over right now from the land of the Queen to a little bit to the land that I think we all know as North America.
আমি তো দেখলাম
I think could we please mute somebody I think was speaking in the background. Great. So we have right now our executive director, Larry Hart, who is the executive director for Global Chamber Cincinnati and Global Chamber Denver. Now, Larry has a very interesting profile. He's not only the most positive person that I've come across, because he's always pumped up to do amazing amount of work. But what is interesting about Larry is that he's got significant business experience in private business, in government entities as well, and nonprofit organizations. And that's not usually a mix you find with a lot of people. He's got a degree in civil engineering, and he's worked in the construction industry. And then he turned from engineering to economics. I mean, what can this person do? After that, he turned to public service, and he acted as a mayor and economic development director, where he found a passion for helping companies grow. These days, Larry's passion lies with working with the Global Chamber and as a consultant for several companies. Larry, let's understand how you do all of this and how can future individuals aspire to be like you and maybe even a bit better.
I know we have a lot of great people on this call, Mamoon. So thank you. Thanks to the fellow directors on the call. Cheers to you. And it's so fun how we all kind of learn from each other, isn't it? I think it's amazing. So I thought I'd shake things up just a little bit and talk kind of directly to the close to 200 students that are on the call. And part of this idea came from my pal Lauren, who's on the call from, she's in Colorado as the deputy director. Lauren, if you want to say hi real quick, say hi.
Hi, everyone.
Yay. Lauren's very passionate about the Young Global Leaders Network, and she's been working with Katie and some of you others about really getting this thing off the ground this year. So cheers to you, Lauren. So I thought I'd come up with just 3 little fun kind of tips that if I could go back in time 20 or 30 years and think back to when I started my career, some things that maybe would help me. So the first is a quote from Mark Twain that I've always liked. It says, "The 2 most important days in a person's life are the day you're born and the day that you find out why." So our first thing to talk about is, be happy as you're thinking about college and what you want to do after school, or maybe you're in school and you're thinking about, it's a big world out there. What in the heck is it that I want to do? We only have one shot in this life, and it's a journey, and you've got to make it count. So find a way, find something that you can do that makes you happy. When I was in college, I worked in the admissions office, and we used to talk with a lot of prospective students about that transition from high school to college. And it starts with just plug in and find something to be happy about. Find a passion that you can share with others. For me, it was soccer. So I joined the soccer team, and pretty instantly I had a pile of friends from the soccer team that then led to other friendships and other events and fraternity life and all sorts of stuff. Another example is a favorite team. So I live in Cincinnati now. For those of you that are in the know, the Bengals, the mighty Bengals, are in the Super Bowl, which is Sunday. And that's kind of a big deal in Cincinnati, but it's obviously easy to make friends around cheering for the Bengals. So another example of a shared passion. But if that's not your thing, maybe it's a church or a book club or a nonprofit association. The key, though, is to find something that you enjoy and can do and share that passion with others. The second thing is the importance of teamwork. And here's a great example on this call of teamwork, because we're finding all of us have worked together with each other as the executive directors in one form or another. And I think you've heard a few stories of that already. But in my case, I studied civil engineering in school, but then a couple of years later, I was kind of bored, and I have great parents. And if you don't have great parents, find somebody that you can talk to. But I went to my dad and I'm like, Dad, I think I'm kind of bored with this civil engineering thing. And he said, all right, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I don't know. He said the same thing I just said. Go find something that you'd like to do. You can always come back to engineering. Go find something you like to do. Well, after talking with some friends, I ended up at a sales and marketing company and moving to Las Vegas from Washington, D.C. And a couple of years later, at age 26, I became president of this $30 million a year company. And that is where I learned about strengths and weaknesses. And this mentor that I had, which we'll talk about in a minute, he taught me, when I asked him, I said, do you focus on your strengths or do you focus on your weaknesses? And his answer was, well, you can always find people better than you to do things that you're not so good at. So focus on your strengths, know who you are, and those weaknesses you can fill in with other people. And one of my favorite people to study is Henry Ford, who, of course, invented the company. He created the company of Ford. And there's a great thing that he said. It was at the time, it's like 100 and whatever years ago. He said, if I asked people what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse. And most people agree that Henry Ford was this great entrepreneur, but he didn't invent the automobile. He just found a way to manufacture them and sell them to the middle class. And he streamlined the production process. And in his team of people was just that. He had experts in very specific areas that he went to for accounting and legal, et cetera, all the different aspects of the company. And it was his job to manage that. He found that he was very much a generalist, and which is what I am. And if as a generalist, you're not a specific expert in something specific, that's okay. Instead, surround yourself with some of those people. And as you make a team, that's where your role can be. Also, Baboon, you were kind enough to mention my mayor experience, and nowhere was that more important than as a mayor, which is a great gig, by the way, if you can get it. And same thing, as a mayor, I don't know a whole lot about real estate and accounting and bond financing and all sorts of things, but we were able to surround ourselves as a city council with experts in very specific areas. And we found over time, they are able to tell that story maybe better than we could. So finally, every team needs a coach. Every great player that you can think of has a coach. And what's that? Part of the team element is making sure that you have a good coach or a mentor. The final thing I'll share with you is something that somebody taught me a long time ago, which is get really good at asking, who do you know? It's magic, the magic of who do you know? If you can get good at asking, who do you know, you'll get good at finding whatever it is that you're looking for. So it goes like this. Here's what I'm looking for. Who do you know that can help? And it doesn't even matter who you're talking to, because they know people you don't know. And this can be applied everywhere. You're looking to fix the kitchen sink. Who do you know that might be able to help? You're looking to build a swimming pool. Who do you know? We're looking for a finance director. Who do you know that might be able to help? Maybe we're raising money for a charity. Here's what we're doing. Who do you know that might be able to help? It's a beautiful open-ended question that has lots of answers. And I encourage you to try it out. So let's go for that. Let's be happy. Think about building a team. And whenever you're looking to get something done or to do something or find something or get some help with something, don't be afraid to ask, who do you know that could help? So that's my take on it from here in Cincinnati. For those of you that don't have a team to cheer for in the Super Bowl, think about the Bengals. We'd love to have your support. It's a big deal for us in Cincinnati. And I also do the Denver thing in Colorado, which is where Lauren is. She's been a big help. The Global Chamber is thriving in both Cincinnati and in the Denver area. And we're very proud to be part of this huge team. So thanks to you, Cesar and Doug, Ramon, and the team for putting this all together. And I'm excited to hear what's coming next.
Thanks so much, Larry. And I think we've got to know a lot of people. So we got to get to know a lot more. Always amazing to hear these stories. I haven't heard a lot of this today, so it's new news to me. And I think you just emphasize why it's so important to have mentors. And to have individuals like you, because I think, it's been a few years that I've been in university, but we didn't have access to international mentors that's available right now through virtual communities like the Global Chamber. And I think young global leaders.
And it's one of my favorite things about the Global Chamber is it's so all these are real people. So you can go to any of us and go, hey, here's what I'm thinking. Who do you know that can help me out? Or there's just no end to the relationship building at the Global Chamber.
Amazing.
Yeah, man.
Let's build on that after we're done with initial deliveries. We've got a few more amazing people on this call. I'm just reiterating the word amazing because it just applies to you guys so well. And I can't just think of what would be a superlative word to emphasize me, right? So right now, we're going to come back across the Atlantic to a few thousand miles. And Dr. Aisha with us.
I think, Brother Maimoon, I think Afsara Aisha is having a little bit of a challenge. Some Arif here. Yeah,
sure, Arif.
I think we don't have any internet connection.
Because we were trying to land in Bangladesh. So why don't we get back to you? And Arif is a young entrepreneur who I have had the privilege of working with. He is somebody I can relate to as a brother. But I think, puts Arif here in a very special sweet spot is that he's someone like you. He's living that dream as a young entrepreneur and done it across various verticals and the various countries. And he's been trained in Malaysia. So he has some experience of Southeast Asia as well. Right now, Arif is the managing director of Light Company Limited. And he works on human resource automation, artificial intelligence, product development, IT project implementation. He's worked virtually with 20 plus different countries. He also works with coaching and facilitation. And he's a certified professional coach from the International Association of Coaching, among many, many other very big, assets. He's also the managing partner of Center of Excellence of Artificial Intelligence in Bangladesh. And having said that, Arif, I think I could go on, but I'll let you do the talking. And, you do the talk. You have your 6 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, of course. Let me just try and share my screen. And I love this title that I've been shared today is Leveraging Global Tribe. And all of this almost 200 people joining us today, please keep this in mind, how important, as earlier was shared, the term networking is. Because the world is moving towards connection. And how can we be collectively be future ready to handle, to manage, to leverage, to make empowering connections for the betterment of not only us, but for the community that we work in, for the nation that community stays around, and world is getting bigger than ever. We're not just looking at planet Earth, we're looking at beyond planet Earth as we are working in the next 40 years of generations. Now, this is what I want to speak about, the future ready youths and how youths, and when I say youth, I don't necessarily mean the people who are young. I mean everyone who has the youth in their heart, despite whatever their age is, to become globally empowered citizens. And this is what our companies have been working towards making. But there's two important statistics that I want to take your eyeballs in. And it's applicable not only in Bangladesh, but it's applicable more or less to the entire parts of the world. There's 46% of the private employers right now in Bangladesh who are struggling to get the right people to come to their organization. And that's a staggering number. We always say how many people are unemployed, but we don't see how many people are left to be employed. That's the number. The second important number that I want to take into control is Bangladesh right now is at the 116th rank, 129 in the innovation and research sector. That is the bottom low. But let's not just look at Bangladesh. Let's look at the entire parts of the world. The emphasis on research and innovation is at a high, because one of the things that I just did a previous webinar was on data, how important the currency of data is and how to leverage the data to create better innovation for better lifestyle for human beings. And this, ladies and gentlemen, this 200 people joining us today, I want you to remember that this is where you have the future readiness coming into play. How can you leverage the global tribe to create these two aspects? How can you be employable, and how can you create the innovation to create more employability opportunities for all? And that is what we are, as a company, have been trying to do with Light Over Light. Is we're not here to shine over darkness. We're here to emphasize on what you already have with a little bit of more light. So that's Light Over Light as a research and delivery firm to take this forward. And there's the education arm of Light Over Light, which is the light education, where we try to create the enlightening experience of the future. Now, taking this ahead, where does the global readiness comes from? And this solution is, we call it YES, the Youth Excellence Steps. And there's 5 steps that we can leverage on. The beautiful thing about all of our speakers is we are speaking the same resonance, and we are speaking for one purpose only, to empower you. And to get to that empowerment level, there's 5 steps that we figured out. Exploration, how can you explore your internal strength? Education, on how can you educate yourself to go beyond? Employability, how can you be ready to take on all the different challenges that comes to your place? Entrepreneurship is how can you convert yourself from job seekers to job providers? And lastly, empowerment for growth. Now, to do that, very quickly speaking, exploration drives through internal, using psychometric assessment that we have, and we've been generating for the past 40 years with a British behavioral scientist and a group of people working with us on how do you understand your strength and identify your opportunities with global tribes, with these global networking events, the webinars, and the catalyst programs that you can take forward for social innovation. How can you be a global graduate, global educator, and a global successor to these internal strengths and the external opportunities that comes around? And we have that with one of the biggest global players in the world, the Brick Felicia College, with almost 80 or 100 plus institutions and universities with them as well. We have the employability opportunities on how, on one hand, you can become workforce-ready graduates, and on the other, you can develop artificial intelligence as a youth for others, especially in the research and innovation sector. As an entrepreneur, how can you understand whether you have that entrepreneur in yourself and bring out that entrepreneurship? But not only that, you can practice your entrepreneurship with a global apprenticeship platform. So under the banner of Center for AI Innovation, which I co-founded in Singapore, we are already in quite a lot of countries, at least in all the five or six continents, and there is a global support that can be provided with you with a minimum of 120 plus projects, and even increasing now. Now, lastly, with empowerment is how can you take this beyond and develop your coaching skills so that, and as Larry just earlier mentioned, every good player had a very good coach at the behind. And how can you create that culture of empowerment for growth? But this is what I want to take your attention to. Every single building starts with an architecture and have a blueprint. Why not your life? Now, this is the time where you can design your life blueprint with us, with this global tribe, where you understand your strength, build your career opportunities, and ultimately create your personalized succession planning and, of course, the development plan. But with the last point that I want to take this forward, imagine there's a car. If you do not know how to drive that car, who is driving? Put it in the chat box. Who is driving your car? So if you are not the driver, who drives your car? And if someone else drives that car, then you're in control of that person. Now imagine if that car is your life. In your life journey, who is driving it? Are you in control? or is someone else doing it for you and just maintaining and following it? Now, if you are in control, how can you make your car a Ferrari or even a supercar, whichever you like? And to that level, on both the front, we believe we can help you with the global tribe. So with this light education and light over light, and of course, the light women, where we leverage on how we can empower the beautiful aspects of diversity and inclusion and take this beyond. But there's one thing that I would like to take your attention to is be the driver. This is the time for you to take control because everything is available at your fingertips. Only one link away and one click away, you are available to the global tribe. Let's make this work. If I can help you in any way, if the global tribes can help you in any way, please contact us. I'm going to put something in the chat box for you to click to if you would like to be your driver. Thank you so much, Maimun and the team.
Thank you, Arif. I think that's a lot to think about, a lot of different terminologies that we came up to. And hopefully, let's make life simple. Let's chart a direction. And that's what we are all here to do, right? Help people along the way.
Absolutely.
So again, those enlightening thoughts from Arif, we're going to go back to Central America and someone very special to the Global Chamber, who basically is our backbone in our day-to-day activities. It's Cesar Trabanco, our vice president. Cesar does not need much, introduction, but he has a decade of administrative, operational, and leadership experience in different kinds of work environments. He's worked in market development and service management for Latin America and Europe. And through the Global Chamber, he's been able to interact with individuals and markets like in the USA, in Africa, and Asia. Right now, he's working from Puerto Rico, and his goal is to put the island on the map for global business. Cesar, we'd love to know the updates from there.
Thank you, Maimun, and I will definitely provide some updates. But I've been rebuilding my presentation as I heard Larry and the others. I mean, it's been Arif, it's been a great presentation, and I wanted to share a little bit about myself and how my experience kind of agree and goes along with what Larry and Arif just mentioned. I got married 10 years ago, and I went to. My wife was planning to go to med school in Mexico, and I had just finished my master. I had barely working experience, and I was let's go there. I was an adventure kind of spirit, but it was hard for me to go to a place I've never been to, and I know no one at, and I kind of tried to build a career there, or still continue being functional in terms of my professional life. And so networking is key. It's definitely key. I started like sending some CVs to different companies and nothing happened. Of course, I'm not Mexican, and so there's always a process. All of you who knows, who has been to other countries, they know the whole process on immigration. But I started, doing some internship for free. I even volunteer in a Pan American Games, which is kind of the Olympics for the region, and I started to meet locals, and that took me to someone say, hey, there's a huge expat community on Facebook. You should connect to that community. I connected them. I connected to the leader. I say, I would like to meet you. I would like to discuss what my opportunities are in this city, and he called me and say, come to my home tomorrow. And it was Thanksgiving Day. Thanksgiving is not celebrated in Mexico, but he was an American. So he invited me there to his home, and he connected me to a Colombian who was building a business in Mexico. And that guy gave me an opportunity. And it was a small company, but it was pretty global. We have people from Hungary, from the Netherlands, from Colombia, from Morocco. And so that allowed me to, spend my rest of the time, which were 3 years in Mexico, working and building myself professionally. And so I think key points is, you need to start working on your networking. And and your LinkedIn profile, and make sure you connect with the key people that will, you know, that get the chance to know you somehow, like internships or you know, working as you're a student. But then, you know, as you do that, it's still your school. You make sure you're building your network for sure. And then after that, I moved to Phoenix, Arizona, and the same story. I don't know no one there, and so I started. At least I'm an American, so there's no issues with, you know, immigrant papers and things like that. But I started reaching out on LinkedIn to companies, and then it was through LinkedIn, when I got my LinkedIn built out already for a couple of years, that I connected with Doug, and I had a conversation with Doug, and that was, I think, almost 6 years ago. And he was like, "What in the hell are you doing in Phoenix, Arizona?" I remember those words. And so from there, I say, you know, Global Chamber is exactly what I want, is what I want to be part of. And so I started working there. And that, you know, that whole networking thing through the years definitely paid out. And now I'm gonna make the transition to Central America. So it is the, you know, that mentality that Doug and the whole community has about, you know, working remotely and kind of thinking out of the box, that allow me to come back to my island, to Puerto Rico, and work from here in 2017. And I really appreciate that from Doug and the team, because that was pre-pandemic. Now it's something like, yeah, that's common, that's normal, but it wasn't at the time. So I came back to the region because the region really needs some push. It's typically a region of brain drainage, like people get their degrees and they jump to the US and they find other places in Europe. And so I wanted to come back and you know, work from here, you know, start having my kids here with their family. And that's kind of a Latin American perspective. So making the transition, I want to speak briefly about the region, and I'm gonna share a map. I didn't have a presentation, I just wanted to share a map. So the whole Central American region has, you know, younger population that, let's say, North America and Europe. There's a, you know, they've been educated, they have a lot of degrees. We have a lot of engineers and people bilingual, even trilingual. So it's a region that's been lacking opportunities for the last couple of decades, but now that's changing, and that's changing thanks to technology. It's typically a region that depends mainly in tourism and agriculture. And that's changing because technology is bringing the opportunity for these people to, you know, do manufacturing here. They're benefiting from nearshoring. And so there are some success stories like El Salvador, for instance. You know, they're now kind of building the whole Bitcoin and accepting Bitcoins as an illegal tender in the country. And that's like, it's a huge change. And so something I've learned is like the whole Latin America, we tend to embrace technology even faster. Technology tend to come from North America, Europe, Asia, but we embrace technology faster. I think that's because of the needs that we have. And so that's the opportunity there. And so we have, Panama is key. You know, if you haven't been to Panama or haven't seen Panama, you probably, you know, you see Panama City and that's like a Miami or Los Angeles. It's like a massive city with skyscraper, and you know, it's the hub for finance and logistics in the whole region. And so Colombia is key when it comes to apps and e-commerce and all that. So technology has been key. I think the opportunity is that we are close or very close to the US, so nearshoring. When it comes to nearshoring, this is the area, and no doubt about it. I'm from Puerto Rico, which is this small dot here, and we are part of the United States. And we kind of selling ourselves as the bridge between the US and Latin America, or Europe and Latin America, Europe and the US. So we want to call ourselves the Singapore of the Caribbean. We're far from that, but I think that's something we can work on it. So I think that's it, Marimun. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity, and it's been a pleasure to be here today. Oh, you're on mute, Marimun.
Sorry about that. So thank you, Cesar. I think we got to know a lot more about Central America. Maybe in this part of the world, in South Asia, we don't know so much. And thanks to you and Phil, I think we got the feel of the other Americas that we aren't coming across.
Yeah,
So
something I forgot is how, at least in the Caribbean area is very linked culturally to Africa and even South Asia. I don't know if you're aware of it, like Trinidad and Guyana and the West Indies has a lot of story. And so I think there's a bridge that's not happening that should happen between Africa and the region.
excellent, thank you so much. So another small announcement for everybody who's been here for the better half of 1 hour and 15 minutes. This is a certified Globinar seminar, whichever you might like to call it. And for all of you young leaders who have stayed on, we'd like you to stay on for a little bit longer because we're going to be dropping in a form, and it's going to have a feedback of your inputs about this event. And of course, just watch out for it towards the end. You'll have to fill that up and we'll use the information from there to basically... I think we have some background noise. Thank you. So please fill that form up. And as we do so, we'll be handing out the certificates over the next 2 weeks. There are more than 150 people here, so we want to get all the details correct. So today, to finish off from our Global Chamber panel, I think I'm not going to be giving out a very basic background of this gentleman. He is like a father figure to me. He is, I think I can say, the resident Santa Claus of the Global Chamber, because he comes bearing gifts of connectivity, of learning, of growth, and I am inspired by him every single day. I think I went to a meetup with Tal the other day, and there was Doug Brunke, our CEO and founder, coming in and giving us a global update about the whole world. And I had gone into a meeting with another trade facilitation organization that I'm part of, and those inputs were so vital. So I think Doug is a living encyclopedia, and he is known as Doug Brunke Global Chamber. I think that is enough introduction for him. So I'll let Doug do the talking from this point forward. Doug.
You're very kind. Thank you very much, Maimun. I appreciate it. And thank you all for attending today. This is an important conversation. It's certainly one that we all feel very strongly about. How can we get greater impact in what we all do in the world, whether we're a young global leader or an older person like myself? I think, if we can work together and find ways to collaborate and help each other, and then ultimately be more successful in business, to have impact on the world, that's really the purpose of this conversation and many of the conversations we have at Global Chamber. I really like what's been said already by all the speakers. I'm trying to think of what else can really be said. One thing I'd like to emphasize that may have been said, but I didn't fully hear it yet, was something that one of our speakers at the IE Business School in Madrid gave a couple of years ago, probably 3 years ago, but it's been one of the best presentations we've had at Global Chamber. It was about the 100-year life and how that impacts any of us in how we manage our career. And a key cornerstone of that is education. Making sure that, first of all, that we get an education, that we recognize that it's not a one and done, that it's an ongoing process. And in fact, even when historically folks used to retire, or many people would retire, another round of education might be appropriate. So I want to emphasize the importance of education and the aspect that when you're going into it, it may not be, the end result may not be what you expected. And an example of that would be myself. I was a sustainability clean up the world kind of guy when I came out of high school. So I decided I'm going to get a degree in meteorology, which will help me clean up the air. After a few months, I realized that that wasn't complete enough. It wasn't big enough. and I wasn't sure I wanted to do that. So I became a chemical engineer, which was bigger, which had more stuff in it, more components hanging off it, so that I could use that degree in a bigger, grander way. I had no idea about global. My grandparents were from Germany. I'm an American, but I didn't really think about global at all, in college. And I didn't think about global at all for the first 7 or so years of my career with the DuPont company, a big company. It took a series of occurrences, and in particular, a person at the company who didn't want he was retiring, and then nobody else wanted his job, which was the Teflon business and a couple other businesses doing business development in Asia from the US. Nobody wanted to travel, but everybody thought that was too hard. And I was a 27-year-old person that said, hey, that sounds pretty cool to me. I'd like to try that. I've never really thought about global business before, but now it became evident that this might be something that I was interested in. So I ended up just writing a blog post about my 35th anniversary, because it was 35 years ago last month that I took my international trip. And I realized at that point that was what I wanted to do. That all said, it doesn't just like automatically, the clouds don't open and everything comes to you. It takes work. It takes re-education. I got an executive MBA along the way. I've asked a lot of people a lot of different questions. Early on in my career, I did not have a mentor. I love the ideas that all of the speakers have talked about, especially Larry, about mentorship and how important that is. It's critically important to have people who can be there for you. And that's a lot of the reason why we've set up systems within Global Chamber to allow that to happen. When you need help and want help, you should get help and have people to bounce ideas off of. So can think about education, think of things as an ongoing process that is always changing. What you're doing now, even if you're happy at it, there are other opportunities. There are other things to do that can make you happy. And so be open to talk to people, to adjust, to evolve as a person. And then finally, I would say, there's the aspect of you as a person. What's your legacy going to be as a person? What do you want to accomplish? And so the Stephen Covey concept of begin with the end in mind is hard to do when you're young. At least for me, it was a very hard thing. But when I discovered it, I guess about 15 years into my career, and read that book, Begin with the End in Mind, or I think that's what it's called. It changed my life in the sense of really thinking about what I wanted to do and accomplish. And that allowed me to focus more and to be more directive around what I love to do, which was international business, and continues to be that today. Of course, what it was then, at 15 years into my career, that was 25 plus years ago. So things have evolved. So again, educate yourself, keep evolving, work very hard, be happy. When that actually is one thing that any of us, I think, have experienced over time, is that we love our work. And there are times when we don't love our work. There are times when we work for good bosses, and there's times when we work for bad bosses. I happen to work for an extremely bad boss, in one case. And how do you handle that? How do you adjust to that? How do you get help for that? How do you evolve so that you maybe step away? In that case, I tried to make it work very hard, but I ultimately had to step away. It was an impossible task to break through and to make that make that work. Sometimes that's the answer. You just walk away. Other times you put your head down and you keep working. That's where mentorship and getting advice from people becomes so important. And then finally, I'd like to say one more thing that I think is critical to all of us. It relates to the legacy aspect of any of us in our life, is making an impact. You know, how do you ultimately make an impact? Where do you want to make an impact with your family, with your coworkers, with people around you? What are the things that mean something to you that you want to change? And even when you're looking at the world, what are some of the things that you want to change in the world, so that, you know, when you come and go, you felt like, hey, you know, I put a dent in that. You know, for me, things like injustice around the world, or inequity, or, you know, women not being given the chance to do certain things in certain countries, like I saw in Japan and Korea in particular, that got me upset. That got me angry. That woke me up to, wait a minute, that's not right. That shouldn't be the case. That there should be an appreciation for diversity on executive teams for global business. There should be the ability for people to do, you know, accomplish things and be recognized for it, no matter what they look like or where they came from or what their education is. You know, those are things that mean something to me. And I knew that by doing Global Chamber, we would have a potential chance to impact that, not just in the US, but around the world. And hopefully we do, by having things like women in global leadership, or programs on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Those are important things to me, and I want to make sure that those continue on. What are the things for you that make a difference? And then lastly and finally, when you do global business, and by the way, there's so much opportunity. You know, the world is full of an immense amount of things to do. And for those of us that have tasted global business, there's no going back to local. You just can't do it. It's too boring. It's too uninteresting. It's, you know, it's fine to be embraced in your own culture. But at the end of the day, at some point, for many of us in our lives, we need more. We need something bigger. We need to be playing in a bigger sandbox. And I encourage those of you who feel that way to do it, to recognize that it is more difficult, but it's one of the reasons why we do it. And it allows you to have an impact on a bigger and broader scale. And that's my last message, is keep that in mind as you go along, that it's more than the task at hand. It's more than what you yourself are accomplishing. It's all about the legacy and how you can help other people be better, to accomplish more in their lives. And by working together in a collaborative way, like we do in the Global Tribe, we accomplish more together. So thank you, Maimun, for the opportunity to say a few words, and I look forward to the Q&A section.
Thanks so much, Doug. We're just going to be moving on to our last two speakers of the day. Afra Aisha has been able to join us. I believe she was facing some technical difficulties. But if I could just take a moment to ask everyone to turn on their videos for a bit. We're just going to be taking a group picture. I mean, you don't get 160 people in a room every other day. So this is actually for our press partners. So audience, if you can kindly turn on your videos. Hopefully you'll be seeing yourself in the Financial Express or the ICE Business Times at the end of the month, or Financial Express tomorrow. We will share the link on our page. Team, are you ready? All right, everyone, let's go for it. 3, 2, 1, smile. Guys, just let me know when you're done.
Done there.
Thank you so much. All right. Now that we have a good memory of today's event, let me move on to Afshar Aisha. She's a certified professional coach, somebody from Bangladesh. So we're again jumping back across thousands of miles. And she's part of Team Coach International, which is the licensee of the International Association of Coaching. She's got a passion for designing solutions, simplicity and purpose. And I think we have some background noise. Thank you. Afshar's mission is to make processes faster and relevant using the principles of design. And she wants to do this further through coaching so that we can get higher awareness and discovery and growth. So I'll hand over the session to you, Afshar. Really happy to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Bhaiya, for the wonderful introduction, and thank you so much all for your patience. That's why we call virtual patience. I was having a bit of technical difficulties, so I apologize for that. But thank you very much for letting me to speak at this beautiful event powered by Global Chamber. So thank you very much. So if I introduce myself, I'm Afshar Aisha. I'm a brand designer and women empowerment coach, a certified professional coach by Team Coach International and IC accredited school. Lead designer, IC Voice Magazine, co-founder, director, and brand designer of Light Over Light and Co. Limited and the Light Education, and women empowerment coach of the Light Woman. So if I move on, the world is now needs leaders, teams, and organizations that embrace emotions. It's more empathetic, but the concept is the work is done by a human for the human. This concept is called the feminine work culture. Here we are not talking about men or women. We are talking about the masculine and feminine gender qualities, which are both present within ourselves despite our gender. So what are our masculine and feminine gender qualities? Our masculine energy allows us to go out there and push the boundaries, take initiatives, take risks. It is our dragon slaying warrior energy. On the other hand, our feminine energy allows us to connect with people. We care, we have patience, we accept ourselves and accept others. The feminine energy looks for a holistic view instead of focus, looking for the meaning of things by asking, why are we doing all this? So how do we establish feminine work culture in our organizations? There are two main ways to do that. Are employing coach-centric and design-centered work environments for transforming human experiences. So what is coaching? Coaching is a powerful technique of listening and questioning that enables you to gain awareness about yourself and identify where you want to be, where you are now, what options do you have to move forward with your goals, and what actually needs to be done to move forward. Coaching opens the route to personal and professional awareness and growth. With coaching, you'll get support from coaches professionally in your quest for a better future. A coach also helps you to listen to your inner self, gain clarity about what really matters to you in life, stop procrastinating, planning and taking action. Keep focused on plans and timeframes until you succeed. So we have Women Empowerment Coaching Program for the Light Education powered by Light Women. And how can you be benefited from that? Become aware of your blind spots, establish and act toward achieving goals, aligning your vision and mission, increase confidence, and deeper level of learning. So to begin our coaching journey, we need to first identify our goals. Coaching is a platform that we truly believe in, enabling us to facilitate life-changing experiences and changes. With high standards and professionalism at the heart of our practice, we can help ensure meaningful outcomes for you. So now, to our young leaders, to our young women leaders, do you think establishing a coaching culture is a necessity or luxury? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Afshar. I think we learned a lot why we need to be coached, and I think The word coaching is a bit deceptive in Bangladesh because we align it with hours and hours of studying, but it's actually finding the right person to guide you the right way. And of course, this
Thank
can
you.
help us to achieve our full potential. So again, staying in Bangladesh and of course, welcoming somebody very, very pertinent to today's event who have been supporting us from the University of Liberal Arts Bangladesh. We have Dr. Umana Angeline, who is an associate professor of the School of Business at the University of Liberal Arts. Before joining ULAB, she did her PhD in Communications and Information and her second master's in advertising from the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, USA. During her stay in the United States, she co-taught social media to undergraduate and graduate students and served as a research assistant to the University of Tennessee. She's also worked with the University of Asia Pacific in Bangladesh, and she's served in the Dhaka Sheraton Hotel and Public Relations, Sales, and Marketing departments. I think it goes without saying that Dr. Umana is somebody who has both practice and can also preach from her experience. And we can just end off tonight's deliveries with that person combination of learning that I think Doug mentioned. So Dr. Umana, you have the floor for 6 minutes.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me all?
Yes,
can
Umana.
can you see my videos? The slide? Okay. Thank you very much. Respected everybody. Guests, educators, sponsors, participant leaders of this event. Thank you very much for bringing me in this event called Leveraging the Global Tribe for Greater Impact. Good evening to everybody. I'm so glad to be here and representing my university. My name is Umana Angeline. I'm an associate professor in the School of Business at the University of Liberal Arts in Bangladesh. At the outset, I'd like to thank our international guests for conducting such an impactful program. Also, I would express my sincere most gratitude to the organizers and the mentors for their time and their dedication in making this platform superbly successful. We also appreciate the movers and shakers of this event for their initial initiative to inspire the young minds to let them explore the opportunities available via the digital marketing platform. I want to say a little bit about the University of Liberal Arts and Marketing Club, Digital Marketing Club, in a few short sentences. ULAB is a private liberal arts-based university in the capital city of Dhaka in Bangladesh. ULAB's motto is about offering a new vision in higher education. Professor Imran Rahman is the Vice Chancellor of this university, who currently also is the Dean of the Business School. Here's the logo of the ULAB Digital Marketing Club. In short, we call it UDMC. The purpose of this club, now let's look at a little bit about the club activities. The sole purpose of opening this club was offering a digital platform for its students to learn what digital marketing is, its impact, necessity, and how to conduct market research, and et cetera, et cetera. Some of the key objectives of this platform is also educating and imparting hard skills, including graphic design, content writing, search engine optimization marketing, SEO, diversity marketing, and last but not the least, advertising through social media platforms. Also in this learning objective is inspiring and educating about the need for implementation of soft skills such as communication, teamwork, work ethic, time management, extracurricular activities also is a valuable addition to one's resume. ULAB Digital Marketing Club is one of the top 5 social welfare clubs in Bangladesh, since the club had ranked 5th on the Midas financing in association with the Daily Star's Campus Club Summit of 2020. The club has organized the biggest national marketing competition in 2020 and 2021 titled Idea Hunters. ULab Digital Marketing Club is always on the lookout for inviting the best mentors and the luminaries in the business world. There have been trainings, live sessions, and seminars with Google, 10 Minute School, Robi Asiata Limited, Kazi ID, etc. UDMC also had speakers, head of the departments, directors, and CEOs from different organizations, such as you can see from the logos, peekaboo.com, chaldal.com, the Daily Star, and Nogod. The recent live sessions of various salient digital marketing topics also have been done here. Say, for example, digital media planning, digital entrepreneurship, marketing data analysis, public speaking and communication, digital commerce, film production, distribution, designing of a 360-degree media strategy, adaptation of technologies, etc., digital money transfer system and mobile banking, etc. Digital marketing has exploded over the last few years. Currently, there are about 121 million internet users in Bangladesh and over about 47 million active social media users. The rate of active social media users has been on the rise since the year 2017. However, there have been some challenges too. The digital marketing trend has shifted considerably due to the pandemic. With the pandemic, many e-marketers have faced challenges like so many others in the world. After some initial setbacks, the traffic of the e-commerce had started to increase and the online grocery delivery had seen a boost with the lockdown. The market had also seen new entrants, yet the size of the online market is yet to go a long way. Radio and television advertising has evolved into digital marketing techniques of selling goods and services, leveraging the digital channels like the social media, the search engines, emails, and websites to connect with prospective and existing customers. Digital marketing is a promising sector due to these incentives like the ease of audience targeting, pay-per-click strategies for keeping the costs down, low involvement and high return on investment marketing techniques being considerably less expensive than the traditional markets. Reaching mobile users is easy for businesses since it's easy to reach potential customers anytime, anywhere by digital marketing, as most of today's smartphones have internet connection, internet access. B2B and B2C marketers also attract potential customers using social platforms with the tactics of dedicated online training and marketers in social media, pay-per-click, SEO, web analytics, emails, content marketing, etc. Digital marketing is a promising sector due to the ease of audience targeting, pay-per-click strategies, and keeping the costs down, low involvement and high return on investment, by being considerably. I've already mentioned this. Anyway, sorry, I just flipped to another slide. With the companies launching and maintaining well thought out effective campaigns, there is ample scope for job seekers with their digital marketing skills and positions such as social media marketing specialist, pay-per-click specialist, digital marketing consultant, search engine optimization specialist, even bloggers and YouTubers who are professionally trained to write blogs or in the digital marketing field. This event would open up the prospects for development of the young generation and the fresh graduates to aim higher, think innovatively, and connect globally. Wishing the ULab Digital Marketing Club and all those who are taking the effort of digital marketing all the success. Thank you very much. That's awesome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Umana. And I think it's very pertinent to say that, I mean, I'm not too old myself or as experienced as most of the other panelists in this room, but I think I still don't know how to use TikTok, which the new generation does. I don't use Snapchat, and I realize why my team is so important. You know, again, I would like to think I'm young, but I guess I'm falling on the other end of that radar. But that is why I think if we even want to leverage the global tribe, and I think a lot of the questions have been coming in, how do we network? It's essential. It's essential to be on these platforms. At one point, you have to understand that in one way or the other. So, Dr. Umana, I mean, thank you so much for shedding some light as to what are the upcoming trends. And I think we've got amazing marketers here in the form of Tal, who's doing amazing digital marketing. Katie as well. You know, she enhances these platforms really, really good. As I mentioned about the meetup, so these are great. And again, we're virtual. That's what Global Chamber does. You know, we're everywhere. No matter what happens, no matter what time zone it is, you will have us there to help you out, right? And add in a little bit of warm connection along the way.
Absolutely.
So I know we're a little bit over time, but since everyone is still sticking in, I think, you know, we'd like to get in some questions into the room. So I'll just pick a few of the questions that I've seen coming in. I'll give the first one to Phil. I think it's you know, you talked a lot about how Brazil has been such a burgeoning economy and it's been doing so well. And like, could you tell us, like, in such critical times, just the pandemic, how has Brazil shown such remarkable growth in the economy? And what was the strategy of the success? Like, what can other young leaders learn from this?
Thank you very much, Maimun, for the question. Well, as a matter of fact, Brazil has been struggling as well a lot, like most of the countries in the world, due to the pandemic effects. However, it maintained until last year a good part of its activity, even though many companies struggle and some closed, a lot of layoffs like everywhere else. But we have new types of activities here, new industries, which are actually rising a lot. As I showed in my presentation, it's a new economy which is actually rising today, which gives Brazil a lot of potential for the future. And that's very important. Apart from what we know about the Brazilian economy, which is raw materials, which is mining, which is oil, which is also agribusiness. Other types of industry today are really have a real potential for growth, which is going to have an impact on the way forward for Brazil economy.
Great, and I know that Brazil is part of Mercosur. And you know, if anyone can get access into Brazil, you have that huge market of the 3 other nations that are also over there. I'll then move on to a question for Katie. And Katie, I mean, you've worked in different places on 2 different ends of the world. And I know that you were telling me earlier that you faced a lot of difficulties when you were moving to London for the first time. So for a new entrepreneur, what would you say that you would have, or somebody who wants to start a startup in the world of business and networking? What are the key skills or the things that they should keep in mind?
Yeah, thank you, Maimun. And I was trying to answer some of those questions on the chat bar as best as I could, but it's always better to say it. I think that networking, there's a lot of stuff hanging around the word networking. And I think for me, what has worked is building relationships and developing communities around you that really serve a purpose for you. And so you really don't go into networking blind. I think you need to have a strategy. I think you need to think about what's important for you. What do you want to know? Who do you want to connect with? And what are you looking to gain from being a part of a network or a community? And so by setting intentions, and I think a lot of people have spoken about this today, setting intentions around how you would like to connect within communities, that's what networking really is. And it isn't something that happens overnight. And I'll just quickly share my first networking event in the Australian High Commission when I first moved to London. And I literally curled up in a ball. My confidence went out the window. I didn't know what to do. And I walked away from that evening really concerned about how am I going to be successful in my role as a new person in London that has no connections at all. And so for an entrepreneur coming into a new city, they're going to feel exactly the same way. or very similar. And so what I did do is I sought out contacts and connections that could help me to develop those skills. So coaches, mentors, people who knew what they were doing. I looked at people that did it really well and I connected with them. And what I did is I developed those skills, and it took me about 2 years to develop those skills. And now I've taken it to another level by becoming a part of this community, because I've learned so much more. And so it doesn't happen overnight. It isn't easy, but I think you need to stick with it and you need to set intentions. And so hopefully that helps you and answers the question.
It definitely does. Thank you so much, Katie. I'll jump back over to Tal. Tal, I think since we know about the technological, advancements that are there in your region, what do you think are the here and now technologies for communication? How would people want to, enhance communication or new tech, or what are the places that they should be investing in?
Okay, so first of all, as you know, we have a lot of digital assets. I'm calling it digital assets, and it's really important to have each and every one of those digital assets. So if I have a website, I'm not losing my Facebook, or if I have a Facebook, I'm not losing my Instagram. It's important to be with a lot of digital assets as you can, and to combine them. And the thing is with technology that you should try to connect all those platforms to expose yourself as much as you can, because today everything is viral and there is a lot of competition. And if people sees you in all of those platforms, that means that you are more available to them. Everything is about timing. And sometimes people can see this is actually branding. So you brand yourself, and those social media platforms, digital platforms, gave entrepreneurs and small businesses the guerrilla tools to compete with the big companies. So if you are using it correctly, you are branding yourself. And the power of branding, it's not the ability to make sales, it's the association in the head. When I says logo with red and blue, most of you will think about Coca-Cola. So it's the association that you create. And if people sees you in every single digital assets, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, a website, eCard, if you know what it is. So this gives you validation, makes you a brand. And when they will need your service, they will remember somewhere that they saw your services, and this will make the connection. As much as many tools are you using in the digital platform, the greater the abilities to create either sales or connections or anything that you would like. I just wanted to add about what Katie says about the tip for networking. The word networking is built from net and working, not just net meeting. So you need to work in networking. And the young generation, and I'm certainly includes myself, even though I'm 42, I'm still feeling young. The spirit is young, but the young generation has usually don't have, because of those technology advance, everything is instant. And there are some things that needs to have time. So if you rooting yourself down like a bamboo, the Chinese bamboo, 7 years of rooting, and then in 30 days, it's skyrocketing. This is how you need to create your network. Even you're not having your business right now, or you don't know what you're going to do, it doesn't matter. As long as you are developing your networking in any other group, it doesn't matter. You will have the right connection, and with the right digital tools, you will reach out to those connections and leverage yourself exponentially. So it will shorten the time for your success. I hope that I answered the question.
Tal, thank you so much. Yeah, that was amazing. And I think I'll jump back to Cesar for a bit and talk about the Central American market from two perspectives. One is, of course, you being Puerto Rican, and the second is, of course, in your capacity with the Global Chamber. How do you think we can actually help promote young leaders to start, doing more business, between the new Americas and, the rising economies of South Asia, say, or Southeast Asia? What would be the best ways, in your opinion? What are the trends that you're seeing that could help benefit and facilitate more trade?
Thanks, Maimun. Do you mean like connecting both regions to work together?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So I think there's actually, I think there's a lack actually of organizations or focus on both regions, but there's always communities, and I think a key aspect, besides the Global Chamber that we're trying to connect globally and expand throughout all the regions, I think each of the countries in Central America, they have their communities from South Asia, and each of the communities they have their business people around. Actually, a lot of business people in the region are coming from the Middle East, from Asia in general. So just to give you an example, I was helping recently a delegation from Malaysia come to Puerto Rico, and an interesting angle was that the Arab community here is small, but that doesn't mean that it's weak. It's pretty strong. And so I personally learned things I didn't know. I reached out to the mosque in San Juan, and they have some business community. And so the person who came from Madrid, in this case, from the Malaysian delegation, really benefit of it and learn more, and actually learn about a lot more about the opportunities here than I could teach themselves about. So I think it's about finding those small communities and find a way to make a bridge and make them, being global instead of just local communities. And definitely, technology definitely helps with that.
Thanks a lot, Cesar. I think that gives a lot of insight on what the younger generation can do, and where we may have faced challenges, right? I'd just like to reach out to the audience at this point. We're just gonna, close in the next 3 minutes. If anyone has a question, could you please raise your hand? We'll give it to the audience. A question or a comment, suggestion? All right. So I think they've gotten their fair digest of information today. I'll just finish up with one last question to Doug. Doug, where do you see young global leaders going? I think it's a very generic question, but where do you see it going?
One thing that's changed in my lifetime is that the world is now in our hands. Technology has facilitated our ability to have a bigger impact through technology than was ever imagined, back in the day. When I got exposed to global, there was something called a teletype, which was kind of a rat-a-tat sounding thing that made the world feel like it was so far away. And now it's right next to us. It allows us to connect to people. It allows us to network around the world and be in front of people, to ask people to be involved with whatever we happen to be moved by. The power of that is immense. And so what I see is that that young global leaders will be changing the world in positive ways going forward. I'm sometimes distressed by what I see happening in the world, by old thinking, fearful thinking, ignorance, trying to conserve ideas and thoughts that need to be destroyed, for good. And I hope and expect, and I see every day, young leaders saying, well, no, we don't need to do it that way anymore. We don't need to preserve that kind of thinking. We can build business between here and there there's no reason why we can't, and really seeing those things as challenges. And so I encourage all of you, as you see these things that should be changed, you'll view them as a challenge that can be overcome. Use technology, use your network, use your education, use your passion. And maybe that's how I'll close. At the that was, I think somebody mentioned that about some of us within the global tribe, that ultimately one of the things sometimes that keeps us going is passion. Sometimes we do get tired. Doing global business is harder. It's not as easy as stuff. We have family obligations. We have all sorts of things that get in the way, and to keep going and to keep moving, sometimes it does just take that inner drive, that passion to keep moving. So use all of these tools, but deep down, feel the passion, tap into your passion, and keep moving forward. See something, say something, do something, make a difference in the world. And that's where I see young global leaders.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you so much, Doug. Just before we close, a few final thoughts and some acknowledgements. I think I'd like to give a shout out to Dana Austin, our ED from Global Chamber Atlanta. She's come in and stayed for the 2 hours. You see a representative from Global Chamber San Francisco coming in as well. Michael Quigley, of course, from GC London. And I think everyone from the GC family, especially Derek Banga from Nairobi, thank you all for coming in and supporting. That's the amazing part of our executive directors and our colleagues at the Global Chamber. A very big thank you to the University of Liberal Arts Bangladesh and the Digital Marketing Club, to the Financial Express and ICE Business Times for supporting us and giving us the coverage and mileage so that we can help impact you more, and so you can create more impact by yourself. I have to give out a very big shout out to, of course, the Digital Marketing Club once again for helping us. I know a lot of people have come through the club to ensure this great participation today. But of course, personally, to my amazing team at Global Chamber Dhaka, they have worked really hard to make this event happen. And I think we reached a new milestone on the Global Chamber platform for the number of registrations and the number of participants today. So again, but who made the whole poll possible? It was these amazing panel of people, Katie Keith, Siddharth Rabanko, Tal Silverberg, Umana Angeline, Phil Desant, Ruby Golo, Doug Brunke, Arif, Afshara. Thank you so much for really making this multi-metro event, YGL event, such a success. So thank you so much. There is always a Global Chamber event happening every day and every week. So please check out our calendar. And we hope that we can do another such event with all of you. And be global, be successful, and create impact. Thank you so much for an amazing ride. Have a good time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Maimun.
Thank you very much. Great event.
Thank you very much.
I
Wonderful.
just want to say to the wonderful Doug, just one phrase came to me, is he has created a process with Hart. And I think that is what kept Global Chamber together for all of these people, for all of these years. And we want to do more for Global Chamber just because of that heart in place. Thank you, Doug, for that amazing heart that you give us.
Thank you, Arav.
And thank you to everyone. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Maimun. Great session.
Good night.
Thank
Thank
you,
you very
everybody.
much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Maimun and all. Thank you.
Cheers.